Welcome back to Jersey Matters. We're in the district office in Tinton Falls of Senator Vin Gopal. Thank you so much for doing this. But let's talk about the budget battle that you just went through. You were part of it, even though you were one of the main players. When I say main players, I mean the two at the very top that were going at each other.
Well, three, speaker.
Well, the speaker too, but you're right, it should be three, but he didn't get as much press as the other two did in this entire thing. In the end, there was miraculously there was a coming together of all sides. And it seemed miraculous, at least when you were reading the press, that all of a sudden, we're not closing government, we have a budget deal. What really happened?
I think it was always getting there, and I think the media tries to, sometimes they'll blow things out, and you're always going to have different personalities, different viewpoints, different ideas. But I have to tell you, for being in Trenton, that Sunday, I got to Trenton at 7 a.m., and I left about 9 p.m. The days leading up to that, everybody was there all day. They were working at this. The Senate President, the Speaker, who was fantastic, Craig Coughlin, and the Governor, they met almost every other hour. And that's a lot of the things that the public and the media doesn't always see. They're not just meeting, just hanging out and telling stories. They were looking for a deal, and both sides compromise. All sides they gave, and that's the art of a good deal. Is that no side gets everything they want, and the legislature is a co-equal branch of government, and they had some strong feelings about certain issues, and the governor is the head of the executive branch, and he had some strong feelings. So I think it was all in all a healthy battle, and at the end of the day, New Jersey got a good budget, in my opinion.
And let me back up for a second, because I didn't include Craig Coughlin, because he doesn't get the media, and many people said that's the reason he got the job, is because he's not out there all the time, out in front, like Steve Sweeney can be and like the governor can be. But you said he played an important role in this whole thing.
Craig Coughlin is an extraordinarily gifted elected official in that he has so much respect from his caucus members, my two running mates included, and he has an ability to build relationships. He played an extraordinary role in making sure everybody was there for a deal. I know his members did not want the state to shut down. The Senate did not want the state to shut down, and both of our leaders took the message of the membership and saying, we got to do everything we can to find a deal. I didn't want to see Monmouth Racetrack closed down. I didn't want to see, a lot of jobs that could be at jeopardy. There's a lot at stake to make sure, and they did everything they could. I think they did an extraordinary job.
You came out early on, well, maybe later on, but you came on in the budget battle and said, you're not going to support a rental tax, a tax on rental properties. Was that effective in killing that?
I would like to think so. I mean, when that came out, I railed pretty hard against Democratic leadership, and I appreciate the Senate President hearing me out. We spent a lot of time, as well as the leadership in the Senate, we spent a lot of time going over it, and I really needed them to understand, while I totally respect that you need to find new sources of revenue and that you have to have the dollars matched, this is not the way to do it. It would have had a devastating effect on Monmouth County, and I appreciate the leadership. They pulled the proposal back, so I'm happy to see those taken off the table.
And I led into this segment talking about winners and losers, and there were a lot of people, and maybe again this is just a media portrayal, but there were a lot of people that thought there was this wall of fiscal conservatives, even in the Democratic Party, wall of fiscal conservatives that were up against a governor that was coming in and wanted to tax and spend. That's the way the battle was portrayed. Did the wall collapse?
No, I don't think so. Look, I voted against a lot of taxes I thought hurt working class families, the Airbnb tax, the Uber tax, the plastic bag. There was a lot of those that I thought we should have really looked towards, that both sides wanted. I didn't think so. Obviously, I voted against it. But then there were areas like a corporate tax when corporations are getting massive windfalls from the Trump administration. I mean, we're talking about billions of dollars in tax breaks as a result of the recent tax proposal. you know, that's a totally different area, in my opinion. And I think that the leadership, the Speaker and Senate President both said, and I know they said it in the room with the governor, is all right, we have to get by this budget. Moving forward, we need to start looking at how we're going to start looking at cutting some of the costs, how we're going to make New Jersey more affordable. But I have to say, this budget, homestead rebates, veterans funding, women's health care funding, rape crisis centers, which Governor Christie had vetoed out, a lot of basic senior freeze, a lot of programs that really help working class families in the state. This was a good budget, and I think it was a victory for Governor Murphy, for Senate President Sweeney, Speaker Coughlin, and most importantly for the residents of New Jersey. They got a very good budget that really put Democratic priorities ahead, which is standing up for working class families.
If there was a battle between the two of them, if there was some friction between the two of them, if there was some dislike between the two of them, the fact that they've come together on this budget, does this help that?
I think so, but look, I think this is not uncommon. We've had Democratic governors in the past who've had a state shut down with a Democratic legislature about 10, 11 years ago. It's not uncommon for leaders in the same party to have strong disagreements because they are very, very principled on their positions, but I think this is one of the good things right now. One of the things that people really disliked about not just about the Republicans last year, but about the folks we were running against last year, is they did whatever Chris Christie told them to do. Chris Christie said jump, they would say how high. He would veto a bill, they would change their vote, even if they were the sponsor of the bill, in voting against their own bill. That's not what we're doing here as Democrats. We're having healthy discussions, we're having healthy debates. We all want to get to the same place. We all want to make sure that every child has the opportunity to grow and prosper in the state, that every family is not leaving, and that New Jersey is a wonderful place. We just have different ideas of how to get there, and I think that's a good, healthy thing, that there's not a bunch of robots in the legislature.
We're over on time, but I did want to get one last thing in, because I thought it was a fascinating bill that you sponsored and helped push through. And it's something that many people wouldn't think of. So much attention's put on budgets and so many attention's put on school formulas. These type of bills that you probably pass more than any don't get attention. And I want to know what the reason was for it. And it was a bill that if someone were to see a dog in a car, for instance, and they were overheated and the windows were up, they could break the windows open and not have any criminal prosecution. Is that right? Is that the bill?
Yeah, look, it's something that other states have done. It's actually come from constituents, and I know in a variety of legislative offices, where if there is a dog, someone's dog, and they're dehydrated and they're suffering, that you can break into the car and get them help and not face any criminal prosecution. It's a form of a Good Samaritan Law. We have other forms that exist, and it's something that's come up actually surprisingly a number of times from constituents over the last couple of months, something they'd like to see. So I'm hoping it'll be reality here in New Jersey. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but if it is happening and someone is forgetful or someone's longer than they do, or maybe they don't realize that they have a smaller dog and that they are having some health challenges or dehydrated or whatever, and a passerby sees it, that they can break into the car and rescue the dog.
Does it also prevent civil action or insurance claims?
I believe the laws to protect the person altogether, as long as there's an animal in the car, yes.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you.
No problem.
I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Senator Vin Gopal. Jersey Matters continues right after this. Still to come on Jersey Matters, an art exhibit in North Jersey that allows kids to express themselves. That's when Jersey Matters continues.